I'm going to blow my time limit. I'm Italian. We like to talk. We digress. So I apologize. Sorry. Hello, and thank you for giving us the opportunity to share our thoughts and concerns with you about Common Core. It's a shame that these conversations didn't happen prior to the adoption of Common Core by Governor Cuomo and Commissioner King. I suppose I should also confess that I am a white suburban soccer mom who definitely believes that her children are brilliant, contrary to our out-of-touch leaders in education. The only special interest group I belong to is that of my children. I'm also educated, and I pay school and corporate taxes in the state. I brought my son with me tonight. He's 9.5. I brought him here as a teaching moment to show him how great our country is and how the political process works and how we can speak out and hopefully you listen. I also brought him out because he's interested in also sharing some things with you as well. Because I think when we talk here in these forums, we forget that it's about them. Gabriel is my very special interest. He's twice exceptional. That means that he's both gifted and also has learning challenges. These are the very children that are falling through the cracks. They were falling through the cracks before, and they're going to fall through the cracks now. My son started Common Core, specifically in math, in 2010. So started his disdain for school. Can you imagine hating school in second grade? By third grade, he was so filled with anxiety that he was pulling the hair from his head. He actually lost 1/4 of an inch of hair on his hairline because he wasn't getting the help, his teachers weren't trained, and they just kept pushing him along. I'm not here to share statistics with you. I will leave that to my cohorts that are much more well-versed on the topic. What I hope for is that you might consider for a moment how this mandated curriculum impacts our students, teachers, and families. I've watched the change in teachers and students over the years, and it's really sad. The first point I would like to make, and I won't spend a lot of time, is that it is developmentally inappropriate. Now consider that when you take into account that my youngest is on the autism spectrum and also has many other challenges aside from that to her learning profile. According to Mary Calamia, we are asking children to write critically using emotionally charged language to persuade rather than inform. So when we are asking young children to use emotionally charged language, we are actually asking them to fuel their persuasiveness with fear and anger. They are not capable of the judgment required to temper this with reason and logic. It seems we've abandoned the innovative teaching and instead teach to the tests. The dreaded exams that students, parents, and teachers were left in a complete state of anxiety in last year. These tests do not measure learning. What they really measure is endurance and resilience. Only a child that can sit and focus for 90 minutes can succeed. The high-stakes testing that is part of Race to the Top and Common Core package deal is quite harmful to students. There are some teachers that will be reluctant to have AIS, ESL, 504, and IEP students in their classes. Teachers are quite concerned with the large percentage of APPR score being tied to factors that they cannot control. This makes me very sad, since my children's potential may not always be measured by a test. What will happen when there's no special ed teachers? Common Core does not embrace educating the whole child, which include social and emotional learning. Research shows that children perform better academically when they feel safe. Common Core one-size-fits-all approach goes against the very grain of how some children learn. Testing times have increased 163% since 2010, and that doesn't include the prep time for the testing. Common Core discriminates against my children with IEPs and 504s because of its rigidity. It denies every New York State special ed 504 student their rights to FAPE. It ignores how and what their brains may be wired to actually accomplish academically. Why are children who are delayed in reading, a year or two behind their peers, and have IEPs required to take the same level test and are not offered a different assessment? What special education professional with ample experience had any part of math or ELA Common Core documentation? You can refer to the New York State Common Core for ELA Math on NYSED's website, and the term special needs is used exactly twice in each document. There is zero reference to the term IEP or individualized education plan. We used to track students into vocational, IEP, Regents, honors programs. Now there is one track, pass or fail. If you can't pass these high-stake tests, if you're not college ready, college capable, then you don't get a diploma. What, in your opinion, do you think happens to a child's self-esteem when they're not even getting a diploma? Or how will that affect graduation rates? Do you honestly think that children will be motivated to stay in school for a certificate? A pat on the shoulder? Gee, thank you for your participation? I do not believe that our education system was so broken. How is it possible that spending has outpaced the results of education so incredibly? I'm infuriated to hear that all of the ungodly money that our government has taxed us for education and misused is now telling the public that our education system is broken. We've had 4 curriculum changes in 15 years. 4. And now we have Common Core. How do we know what's up and what's down? Has anyone ever considered the idea of improving the flawed No Child Left Behind law, which didn't allow for student failure? I've known 10th grade students 4 and 5 years behind in reading. How do you think they could possibly be ready for college if they just keep getting passed along? The problem with Common Core is not just bad implementation. There is more to the core. It is rigid, and its one-size-fits-all approach will leave many students like Gabriel to fall in the cracks. I despise the term cradle to the grave tracking of my children's personal data, and that we have not been given a choice to opt out. Parents are assaulted at every turn these days. If we are not being insulted by the likes of Mr. Duncan, our rights are being stripped away little by little, as we have seen in FERPA and even in the proposed UN disability rights. As we know, our children's records are no longer fully protected as FERPA, as it's being Swiss cheesed by Common Core. According to InBloom website, they are actively collecting 400 data points for each student. Districts receiving the Race to the Top monies are being forced to select a data dashboard from an SED pre-approved list. I listened to today's hearing in the Assembly. It was most eye-opening and even more startling to truly realize John King's lack of understanding or flat-out dishonesty of the exchange of our children's data. I'm disgusted that the rights we once had under FERPA were changed in the dark of night without any public knowledge, coincidentally a few years before Common Core was rolled out. If you all think we are so ignorant to the fact that Common Core was initiated on a federal level, you're mistaken. Common Core contradicts the laws of IDEA and ADA and forces my children to adapt to a curriculum rather than the curriculum being adapted for them to meet their individual needs. I do not send my children to school to become angry and demoralized. There is no respect for parents in this process. We've been insulted time and time again and excluded from the process completely and treated as if we are incapable of making decisions on our own lives, even down to the health care that we have. There's no dignity for our teachers. Do we need a better way to evaluate teachers? Yes. But demoralizing and holding them to those standards without the proper supports in place is not the way to go about it. Lastly, and most importantly, our children deserve respect and protection. Our children are your children too. You see how we parents, taxpayers, and voters have mobilized to bring our concerns to you. So the question I leave with you tonight is, do you stand with the establishment or with the white suburban soccer moms that will be sure to exercise their rights at the voting booth next election?
When I was in 2nd grade, every night when I came home, I used to cry and scream my lungs out before I did my homework. Yeah. My name is Gabriel.
Thank you, Gabriel. Thank you, Flo.